our review for Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. So this is the eighth Mission Impossible film in the franchise and the quote unquote last one. What did you think?
Are you sure that's true, or did the entity tell you to say that, Dave?
Good point. Good point.
Um, this might be the worst one out of the ones I've seen. I've seen four to this one. I haven't seen the original ones from the 2000s. Um, I still think it was a good movie. I don't know if I don't even know if I should use the word good movie. I don't know. I'm a bounce around a little bit, but I think this is by far my least favorite in the group. What did you think?
This is my ranking of the 8 movies.
Okay, so you've seen all of them?
Yeah, I've seen all of them.
Okay,
I'll
go ahead.
probably rewatch the original 3. I don't know. Maybe you want to do that with me. We can.
Yeah, maybe I will. Yeah, because I've
Okay.
never seen them. Yeah.
Can do that right after this. This is my ranking 2. So that's the one directed by John Woo. So you got the slow motion and the doves and stuff. 3, which is directed by J.J. Abrams. This one.
Oh wait. Oh wait. So this is the bottom. Okay. Sorry
Yeah.
for some. Okay. Yeah. Continue.
Let's start
Sorry.
from the bottom. Fallout. So
Okay.
that's the one with Cavill
Mhm.
that everyone loves for some reason.
Yeah, that's good.
Mission Impossible, the first one. Rogue Nation, which is the 5th one. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. That's not a Part 1, so I guess that's just Dead Reckoning now. And Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. I think it's the best one,
There's four.
which is 4. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, I mean, Ghost Protocol is directed by Brad Bird, who directed The Incredibles, and was pretty much the blueprint of the Mission Impossible movies since then.
Moving forward. Yeah.
You have the big set piece at the end. You have the interesting opening. You have the good fights in the middle. Um, yeah, that's where he kind of started, and then you have the really big set piece. You know, where that crazy stunt that he always does. Right, it was the one where he was climbing the tower.
Mm-hmm.
In I think
And
that
goes
one's the
for
best one. Yeah, that's the one that had Jeremy Renner. There's a lot of good parts with that movie. That being said, now we're going to talk about this movie. Um, for me, I know everybody loved Fallout, Mission Impossible Fallout. Um, I think this is the same criticism I have of this movie. The first half of Fallout, I think, is boring. There's a lot of talky, heavy, exposition heavy, and then the back half of the movie, you have fights and the big set piece with the flying on the helicopter and everything. Um, but I thought the villain in Fallout was kind of boring, and then they brought him back later, um, or he was brought back from the previous
the
movie.
preview. Yeah.
But I thought his character was boring, and in this one, as I felt the same way. The front half of this movie was pretty boring. I thought the villain was lame, and he's from the previous movie. Um, the Gabriel or Isai Morales' character, and I thought the back half of the movie was very well done. Um, and the flying of the plane and everything, stuff's in the trailer. It's all good, but I think the first half of this movie hurts it. I think it helps having Angela Bassett in this movie because I like Angela Bassett, and I think the writing in this movie, the dialogue isn't particularly very good. It's very melodramatic, but someone like her can kind of pull off some of the goofiness. They had like, Nick Offerman and stuff, like people that I like, and I think it helps to having them in it because I like them. But,
Yeah.
you know, and it's just because they're saying it, I think it helps a little bit. Um, yeah, I'm at like a 7 for this one. It's just like this like unevenness, but I like the characters, I like the franchise, so it just like pushes it over the top for me. Um, yeah, I think it's an uneven movie. But and it also comes off the high for me. Some people didn't like the last one as much. I thought the last one was very well done. I think the last one is a really good movie, and this one was just like not as good. Um,
Mm.
but I still enjoyed it, and also I think the movie was too long. But most of them are pretty long, so
I think specifically the this one and the last one were really long. They're like 3 hours long. Way too long. That's for sure. Especially if you're not doing stunts like the entire time. But the stunts in this one were really, really awesome, and I did enjoy. But I almost want to say that was the only part I enjoyed of this movie was the stunts. This storyline sucked so much baloney. Entity is stupid. You basically did nothing with it. Um, it's just like it's the real big villain, and then it's like so stupid that it puts itself in its own little bottle at the end. I don't know. I don't want to get into spoilers yet, but that's what truly ruins this movie for me is the entity overall. Gabriel absolutely sucks. He's just kind of there, and he's kind of like just leftovers from the last movie that they didn't dealt with. He should have been dealt with in the last movie and shouldn't have been in this one. But he kind like they still used him. It just I don't. None of his stuff was particularly interesting, and he wasn't even his end wasn't even satisfying. It was just kind of goofed. It was just like a goofy thing. I don't know. It feels like they had two different visions for the movie, and then like closer, they kind of made it more straight and narrow for the audience or something. Maybe they like Laura was thinking there was going to be some side plot where the lady of this movie, we didn't know if she was going to be good or bad the whole time, but I never got that. But it's like I feel like they had more storylines in their original cut of this movie, and I think they cut a bunch of stuff out. Um,
well, what's interesting? So okay, so here's something about the Mission Impossible franchise as a whole. First of all, they a lot of the time they don't have a plan, and it's clear they don't have a plan, and they kind of just wing it. It seems like in a lot of them, um, it's kind of it reminds me. I mean, it is American James Bond. I mean, it's American James Bond
mhm.
where like in the was it the last one or I think it was the last one where they finish up the villain from the previous couple movies in the beginning of the last movie, if I remember correctly.
You talking about James Bond, or are you talking about?
No, this one. I'm talking about Mission
Uh,
Impossible.
yeah,
Right? Was
I don't remember. I haven't. I didn't rewatch it, so I don't. I don't think so.
I think they do. I can't remember what his name is. Um, where they kind of like set him up or whatever. Anyway, I think they but they didn't do it in this one. They should have just done that with Gabriel, where they
Wrapped
just
him up quickly.
hand waved him away. What they should have done. But the thing is, then they're just going against AI the whole time.
TMNT. Yeah,
So it's like, what do you do?
it's a lose lose. But they wrote it, not me. I just think they wrote
Yeah,
themselves in a corner from what they had
hmm
in the last one, and they had to
yeah.
do something with it. I
I
think that's
think.
major. That's most biggest flaw there.
Well, and they also their plan their winging it strategy doesn't always work. Sometimes it works very well, sometimes it doesn't. And I noted, and in this one, I think um, them originally it was going to be a part one, part two, but then they got rid of the part two branding because people don't like part one, part two. But it is a part one, part two, so it's like
Yeah,
you can't get around it. So that's the problem. The only way they could have not done the part one, part two is if also they wrapped up this entity thing. with a hand wave in the beginning and did something completely different for the end. But then, they do a lot of trying to connect all these movies together because of things that Ethan Hunt has done in these other movies, you know? Um, yeah, and it doesn't really fit. They it's yeah, them not having a plan but trying to have a plan at the same time doesn't really work. But and a lot of and this what reminds me of like a James Bond where what they do in a lot of the James Bonds, like you never see a Bond girl again, whatever. And sometimes when they do that, they just get killed really quickly in the next one. And that's what they needed to kind of do here. Um, but
Even if they had done it, I don't think it would have saved the movie, but I do think it would have made it better. Maybe it went up by a point or not. It depends on what they would have done with the entity. But I just think
yeah,
the entity's storyline in general just sucks. So,
well, yeah, they have that, and then they also have characters. Like some characters have maintained for many, many movies. Some characters don't maintain for many movies. Like they have Vanessa Kirby in the last two, but they didn't have her in this one. And but then they have like the lady who's Mantis is in this one again, and like the cops guys are in this
yeah.
again. It's like they pick and choose. Like Jeremy Renner kind of disappeared, and he never came back. Like why? This like they just don't. They it's just the people don't. Angela Bassett wasn't in the last one, but she's in this one. They just because people scheduling conflicts and stuff, and it's to the movie's detriment sometimes when they can't just have a through storyline. But also a lot of these movies, there's like 5 years difference between movies.
Yeah,
Like
I understand that.
I think this is the shortest distance between two movies in the
Yeah.
whole franchise.
And I think it's still by far they've had these double ones where they're kind of related to each other. They had the fourth and the fifth and the
Fifth,
sixth one,
fourth, and fifth.
fourth and fifth. No, because they had isn't fifth the start of that one guy? Yeah, no, it is. It's the Syndicate. Fifth is Syndicate, and then they deal with the remnants of the Syndicate in the Henry Cavill one that you say you don't
Oh,
like.
okay.
So they're kind of related.
Yeah.
And I feel like that one did the whole relation of the movies better than this one, for
Yeah.
sure. But there was more time in between, I guess, is what you're saying, in that one compared to
Yeah,
this.
well, because so the first one came out in '96, the second one came out in 2000, third one came out in 2006, the fourth one came out in 2011, the sixth one came out in 2015 or 16 or 15. I think it's 15, and then 18, and then 23, and then now. So like, there's usually like at least 3 or 4 or 5 years between
Mm-hmm.
movies, and this one had two. But then also it was supposed to be part one, part two. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, that being said, I still think the movie is good enough. I mean, I like the stuff with the submarine. I like the stuff in the beginning. I just think it's just more of a letdown because I thought the last one was really good. Um, I would give it like a 7.
I can't decide between a 6 and a 7. I did like the stunts. I just didn't like anything else about the movie, man. I I don't know. I just really dislike the entity. I really dislike Gabriel. I think the villains really help these types of movies, and the villains just blew.
I think that, but you really like the last one, and I mean, there's the entity in that one, and Gabriel's in that one.
I liked the set pieces more, and then they did more with the cast
Yeah,
of them. And this one was just Ethan Hunt the entire time, which is fine. I like Ethan Hunt, and I loved the stunts that he did this time around. But I don't think I'll ever watch this one again. They didn't. The rest of the cast, what's her head, and they didn't do nothing in this movie. Like they tried to give them something to do, and everything they gave them to do was just boring
Yeah.
and weirdly edited. Like we could go into spoilers if you want to talk
Yeah.
about it,
We can
but
go into spoilers, sure.
editing's all over the place. I feel like I'm watching two different movies. I don't know. I I'm between a 6 and a 7. I almost want to go to a 6, but it's not that bad. But I just can't. Those stunts are really good. I just don't know if I that deserves a whole nother point or not. So I'll be at a 7. We'll talk about spoilers. I'll
All
give
right.
a final.
Um. Yeah. Okay. Um. Would you see it, stream it, or skip it?
I think it's worth seeing in theaters for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Me too. I saw in Dolby at 9:15, and that theater was packed.
Oh
So,
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
what about you?
I saw it. I don't know what they call it, but it was their IMAX thing, their
Their
luxury.
pre-release thing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I saw it at like 3. It
I will
wasn't
say, I,
packed yet, but people are in work. So
I will say, seeing it in Dolby was awesome. It sounded awesome, like when they're in the plane and stuff. That was cool. Um, did you did you have good seats at your
oh
thing?
yeah, no, I ordered them in advance. I was
Yeah,
right in the middle, and yes, sound quality was great. So
yeah,
I think I had the best experience I could have given myself for sure.
yeah. I thought is a real those movies are just fun to see in the theaters. I think those are theater movies. If any movies are theater movies, those are theater movies. So, um, and you got the song. I always like the opening and stuff with the song and the all that stuff. So cool. Yeah. All right. So let's get into spoilers here. Uh, so yeah. So the plane sequence is interesting because, and Dad brought this up to me. Um, Isai Morales' character Gabriel could have just flown somewhere else, just flown a different direction, and he would have been screwed. Um, so
Yeah, I mean, there was so many of like you could say that about so many parts in this movie, and they would have failed. You know what I mean? But it
yeah,
was Mission Impossible, right? But yeah, just the sequences of how one thing leads to another just really blew in this one. Um, and then they keep making it look like some of the cast is gonna die, and then they don't. That's why I
except for
keep
one.
saying, "Oh yeah, yeah, he died." Yeah. Um, yes, Luther dies. That's the spoiler.
Yeah,
But honestly, who cares? And um, yeah, it just wasn't done well. I don't know. And then like at the end, they're defusing the nuke, and they're like, "Someone's gonna have to stay behind." And then like, "I'll stay behind. I'll stay behind.
yeah.
I'll give
I
my
was
life."
like,
And then,
what?
oh, actually, if we defuse this in a slightly different way, we can give ourselves 10 seconds,
We
and
need
maybe we'll make it.
three.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was just
hmm
like this is dumb.
yeah, yeah.
And
That was
then
weird.
and then the other three are inside, and he's funny. He's always funny, but it's like they're just doing nothing. So they have to give some mantis something to do, and you got to catch the genie in the bottle with this one
Yeah,
fraction of a second, and all she does is just like, oh, green light. It's just like what such useless screen time for them.
I don't know. To be honest with that, I kind of like that stuff because the cheesy, goofy stuff is what makes the movie. Like it's supposed to be Mission Impossible. Like it's like almost impossible to do or whatever. That's like the point.
I
I
get
think
it,
it's
but what they were doing was so minimal. Like they're supposed to be field agents. Like in the other ones, they're fighting somebody, trying, like in Ghost
Yeah.
Protocol, they're fighting in the car thing, and he's literally giving life and limb to get to
No,
that
no, no.
thing before him to
No, I
defuse it.
agree. The problem is that they're doing a non-tangible enemy
Yes.
is hard,
Yeah.
right? And the one enemy that they have is basically by himself. Or
Yeah.
yeah, he is by himself. So
And
it's
he's
like
not even intimidating in an action standpoint that way.
no. Yeah. Yeah. Uh him dying was hilarious.
I
That
mean,
was
it
so
was funny, but
funny.
it was just
It was so funny.
in
It
this
wasn't
movie where it's like, it's time to be serious at every moment. This is
yeah.
doomsday. The world's imploding. And then, yeah, that happens.
Oh, that was funny to me. I don't know. I don't know. This I don't know. I guess it just some of this stuff works for me. I I like Haley Atwell. Um
Yep. Well, they gave her nothing in this one except to show off her boobies and resuscitating scene. That's
I
what she
mean
did.
there's I mean she has I mean she's has to grab the thing at the right time or whatever. I mean
Oh yeah, she was the only one who could do that. That was so
yeah,
pickpocketing. It's all about the timing. Oh,
fraction of a second. Yeah, blink
yeah.
by. I don't know. It's fine. It works for me.
Mantis could have done that. I'm just saying.
Nah, she had to stick a straw in his chest.
Yeah, they could have reversed and it wouldn't have mattered.
I don't know. I thought I liked the movie. Um, you know, I pretty much I don't know. I gave it a pass because I like him. So
I get it. You're giving it a pass, but those are the people that I actually like. All of the president and Ron Swanson
well,
and all of that is just garbage to me.
yeah,
Poopy caca. I
yeah,
don't care. You're taking
yeah,
up screen time. Cut all of it and make it 3 minutes. I don't even care. It it made the movie really long, and it was the most uninteresting part of this movie. It had to be done because you had to set up the stakes. I get it, but do it better. That's all I'm saying. It wasn't done good.
Well, it's funny because they kind of they go well we need to speed run the last movie in like 5 minutes in the beginning, and then they proceeded for the next hour to
Yep.
still go through the whole thing. So
Yep.
it's like, why did you speed run it if you're going to still do it? I would say, yeah, you could have cut out 45 minutes of this movie to an hour of this movie and just truncated it. There was I don't know. They just tried to give it stakes with having Ving Rhames die early, but yeah, for some people they don't care about those characters and stuff. So yeah, it's weird because they try to make it a culmination, but like I said, there's been so much time between. I mean, 30 years almost,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like, do people care? Do people even seen it? Do people know about it? You know,
Yeah. I agree, but yeah, the Luther Dine didn't do anything for me, and I've seen all of them, and I do like him in the other ones. I just felt like the way he died in this one was lame. And
yeah,
even if you go back to the last one for Elsa, I didn't like how she died either in that
yeah,
one. Um,
yeah,
so then whenever somebody dies, I think it's done horribly. If someone was to die, it should have been at the end. That would have made more sense, and it
yeah,
should have been for something. But I guess they made it for something, but it's for the people we don't know or whatever BS.
yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. There's just too much of this movie I don't like, but I like the stunts, which is still a big portion of the movie. So I
Reminds me of
still
another
think it's worth.
movie. Reminds me of another movie with Tom Cruise that made a butt ton of money.
Yeah, Top Gun. Is what you're
Yeah.
talking about?
Oh, that's right. Top Gun Maverick. That's right. Sorry.
Yeah,
Uh,
I agree with you on that one. I don't. All I was interested in was the plane fighting as well. Everything else, poopy caca. I don't care.
it
Don't need volleyball. I don't need any of it. But
was not
yeah,
volleyball. It was something like
and,
two-way football. Or
dude,
something.
yeah, they played football. Whatever. Who cares? They had
I
their
like that
shirts off.
song. That was a sweet song. That Run Republic song. Anyway, yeah, that's it. I don't got any more to say, to be honest. But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say my favorite one is the Henry Cavill one. I know you said he's lame, but the guy in the previous one, who he talks like this,
Yeah.
that one, yeah, I think he's one of the better villains. And then I liked Henry Cavill. I like imposing villains that can actually fight.
He can't fight. Oh, Henry Cavill can fight.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
who you're talking about. Yeah.
The other guy can fight too. He's actually really smart as well. The one in Ghost Protocol I felt was like really lame, but all of the things that they have to do to stop him are awesome. But I still think that one's really high. I'm not saying that one's low. I like that one.
If I remember correctly, that's also the one with the Kremlin.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's every set piece in that movie is well done. It's well shot. Jeremy Renner's good in it. Like all the people are good in it. The opening is good. The opening credits are good. Like literally the whole movie is good. Yeah.
I don't know. The first part of Ghost Protocol not Ghost Protocol. Fallout has like the plane diving scene. I guess the beginning of that one is he has to like shoot Luther or something.
I always like.
But it wasn't very interesting.
I also like a movie that if it sets up a template of how a good movie is supposed to be, I give it points for that. Like Fallout is not as good without that first movie.
I get what you're saying, but I'm not going to dock it points because I wasn't the first one to do it.
And Fallout, like I said, has a lot of boring in the middle of that movie. There's a boring to me. It reminds me of this movie. It's like
I haven't rewatched that one, but I see what you're saying. I still like Ghost Protocol.
And I don't care what anyone says. I know everyone loves it. Him cocking his fists like they're shotguns is stupid as hell. No, I think that is so dumb. I know everyone thinks it's awesome. I think it's so dumb. It looks stupid. You look stupid. Okay. So, and with his goofy mustache. All right. Yeah. So, but I gave my rating. I think. So which ones did you watch again? The fourth and fifth one. So you just watched it.
I like both of those better than this one. I don't know what I would rate those other ones, but I think I'm going to go to a 6. But who knows? Maybe I'll change it in the future. But
that's fine.
I really wanted to like it more. I really did.
Me too. But yeah, I mean, but you're also we're all still talking about good movies, so they're not like none of them are like bad. So yeah,
agreed.
So yeah,
all right. We'll see you guys in the next one. Until then,
this has been the Daniel and Andrew Show. Thank you for watching part of the Daniel and Andrew Show. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video. If you don't like looking at our faces, no problem. There's always a full audio version of the podcast wherever you find your podcast. Thank you and enjoy.